today we're going to make a song. This is my first video in this style, and I don't even know if I'm going to upload this yet. I'm just trying to do some recordings to see how it goes. I am using possibly the worst mic for this. It's one of these little things. I guess optimally, if you're singing into it, it would be able to pick up most of what you're singing, whatever. But it's really not good for this purpose. So if I'm cutting in and out, I'll try and avoid that. But it's just probably gonna happen. This is my first video, and it's gonna be a mess. Welcome to the shit show. So I'm gonna be making a song today, and right now the plan is just to crank out some kind of just some song. It doesn't have to be super fancy. I'm using the Sonicware Liven Mega Synthesis here. This really isn't about the gear. Hopefully most of the stuff I'm going to do today is more just general music stuff that could be transferred to other synths or maybe even other instruments, but I'm using this to demonstrate it because it's what I have, and this is what we're going to be using to make the song. It's a 6-track groovebox. It's got a channel that's just for drums, some others that have chromatic lines. It has a little keyboard here in a normal keyboard layout. This row of buttons is for the sequencer. And when I write a song, I like to start with some kind of theme, some kind of image, or like statement, or I don't know, like a feeling or something. So I think we might do that. To be fully honest, I spent about an hour and a half earlier today trying to record this video, and I ended up with just a bunch of footage and a track that, like, it was just so much of a mess that I ended up deleting it all and starting over. And that was supposed to be more of a triumphant sort of empowering track. So I think for this one, it's going to be sad and depressing, and we're going to go from there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll be a, classic minor themed, like, electronic banger. We'll see. Okay, so just getting into it, I think that, one thing I forgot to say is that the Mega Synthesis is, the reason it's called that and the reason it's going to sound the way it's going to sound is that it's modeled after the sound chips found in the Sega Mega Drive. Apparently it uses the same sound chip to produce 4-operator FM sounds, and it's got like a square and pulse wave and noise from a PSG chip. And then it's got sampling as well. That's like 4-bit audio clips. So in my music, I rely really heavily on chord progressions for like some kind of texture, or some kind of like sense of what's going on. That's a terrible way to phrase anything. I like chord progressions because they provide some sort of like emotional backdrop. It's sort of like, I don't know, it's sort of like a bigger, quieter melody that surrounds the melody, and I've always liked that. I've always liked how you can use that to tell stories that are more expansive through time than just a melody. We're going to pretend that what I just said made sense and move on to actually making a chord progression. So for something sad and depressing, let's do a minor key, which is not really necessary if you're trying to write something like that, but I'm going to do it this time, and we're going to do A minor. Because it's all the like first row of notes here, like the white notes on a keyboard, starting on A. That's like the basic A minor scale. That is the basic A minor scale. So with that as our first chord, I want it to be kind of spooky and weird. So instead of moving to another chord that uses notes that are in the same scale, I'm going to move things around a little bit. So that's cool, but it's not what I want. So okay, here's something fun. If you have an A minor chord, or any minor chord, it doesn't matter, and then you go down to the 6, and then raise it. So it's major 6. This is an F sharp instead of an F natural. then make a minor chord there. You end up going from a minor chord, it's a minor chord because of that minor third, to another one that uses the major third from the first chord. Alright, so I fiddled with it, just messed around a little bit, and I think we're actually going to add a third chord. So from our A minor to F sharp minor, and then we're going to go to F major. And then I haven't changed the preset, like this is just the acoustic piano FM sound that loads on a blank patch. But I think the first thing I want to do now is some reverb going, because I can already tell this groove box only has one effect, and I can already tell I'm going to want to use it for a delay. Alright, yeah, got it. I bet you thought I'd show up with some kind of, I don't know, some kind of reverb pedal. You think I got the night sky? You think I got the Chase Bliss night sky? No, I have a cube baby for bass, and that's what we're using for our send reverb. Alright, well that's, oh, hello. I see what we're doing here. I just realized my voice already has reverb because I've got the send audio. This is so silly. Hey, check this out. Hello. Okay, well that's a little better. Oh, that's so much. Okay, we're gonna need to turn that down. This isn't good, by the way. This isn't a good idea for like adding reverb to something that doesn't have reverb. Alright, check this shit out. We got a reverb. I turned the metronome on. Okay, that's not exactly it. Let me plug it into the sequencer and show you what I'm talking about. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. There's so much reverb on my voice, it's really funny. Yeah, I'm messing around with the PSG is the programmable sound generator. It's another chip that is supposedly exactly like the one in the Sega Mega Drive, and it plays a square wave or a pulse wave or noise that fades into a square wave or a pulse wave. And mostly what I do is I just set it to square mode, and I turn on legato and add a little vibrato with the sweep here with it in sine mode. That's too slow. And just do melodic stuff with it, and that's like crack cocaine. Alright, so I was messing around with some of the drum tracks. I really don't have anything else other than that initial, goodness gracious, I don't have anything other than that initial like arpeggio with the bell, but I was looking around in the drum tracks and I found this one. It's the Game Boy 2 in Kit 1. For those of you following along at home. Okay, so not all the sounds are winners, but this one, that one's like, it could have been made for this song that we've got going on so far. So, okay, I've got my thing going in one of the things. It's track 1. You need to be in mono to conserve polyphony, and you want to be some sweet bass line, alright? I think there's something good going on there actually with the that seventh there, so I'm gonna fiddle around and see if I can come up with something groovy, and then we'll start building the drum track from there. Alright, so I've messed around with the bass a little bit, and I've got something that I like. Check it out, we got the frequency sweep, it's still on a sine wave, and I've got it mid-high. This thing's super cool, it does all sorts of cool stuff with this frequency sweep. You can get it like up into audio range. And this thing does have parameter locking as well. I'm going to go ahead and just try and record something in with this. Yeah, and we're going to go ahead and keep the delay off for that one. And now I'm going to start messing around with the drum track. One thing that this device can do is it has a sound lock option, which you get. And basically that means I can change what sound preset is playing on which step. So right now, I want that note from this one. I'm not a huge fan of that kick right now. So now it's time to go to the notepad. I should have started doing this sooner. First thing we're going to do is write down the tempo, which I just didn't change at all. So it's 120. And then the chords, because I should have done that first. Cool, so I've got my chord progression written down here, and I've also got the, I'm going to take notes as I go of what drums I'm playing on which step. Sorry, which drums I'm playing from which kits, so that I can keep track of them. And then I'm going to go digging for some more drums, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a kick probably on the downbeat of every other bar, and have the rest be filled with sort of atmospheric stuff, and that way I can just turn the delay up on the drums and just have it be a whole soundscape. I'm recording in mono. I don't have the capability to record in the stereo right now, otherwise I'd be spreading these drums all over the stereo field. That's not gonna happen, unfortunately. Alright, well, I think I'm feeling good on the drums. Here's what we've got so far. I'm using a few different kits, including one that I just forgot. Okay, I'll have to find that in a sec. Other. That's what we'll call that one that I don't remember. I need to take a break and eat some food, but after we finish this up, my plan right now is to introduce a melody. Basically have the melody sort of meander around a bit, maybe go through a different section where it changes to some other chords. But then it's going to build into a sort of more groovy bit of the song where there's more of a solid drum track that's really pumping. And I was thinking I might get into some of the more fun atonal things that this thing can do as well, there's weird stuff, and then you throw that through some reverb and maybe some delay, and you can just get all sorts of cool kind of industrial stuff going on, and I thought we might lean into that for sort of a B theme to contrast this part, and then this part builds into that part. So I will see you in a minute, probably. All right, we are back. I just ate a bowl of beans. I made some beans to make beans and rice last night, and that's one thing about me that I think it's important that you know, and that it's fine. I'm fine just eating the bean. All right, so with what we have so far, I was going to add the lead part, and it's going to go around in this sort of... I'm going to add that in right now. I've got the sequencer set to 64 steps, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make it 8 bars, 128 steps. That's the max length of this sequencer, and it's one of the things I really appreciate about this groove box, as opposed to like a lot of other stuff, I guess, as opposed to something. Right, so I've gone ahead and added in the melody. The melody loops twice. It's basically the same, but the second time there's like, it's a bit different, and it just sort of stretches the whole thing out, basically. You get, 8 bars for the price of 4, and then I also made the drum track 128 tracks, a full 8 bars, and I made some changes just to the beginning and end of the second loop of the whole thing, so that it doesn't get too stale. And that's actually to make sure that I can keep my place when I'm listening to it and playing it back. I need to know where I'm at on this pattern so that I can end the pattern in the spot that I want it to and switch to the next one. So I made this 128 tracks so that I can keep track of the 8-bar set. Yeah. Basically, this is what it's going to be like. Basically, it's going to end there, because when you switch from one pattern to the next on this, it cuts off the effect, which is a little bit annoying, but it's fine, because what I can do is mute everything and leave just this track before the end, and then that doesn't have a lot of reverb or delay on it, so when I switch to the next track, or the next pattern rather, it won't mess that up. So I'm going to save it, and then save it to the next pattern over, and then start working on that as a new section. And the first thing we're going to do with that is probably a drum beat, something heavy and driving. All right, we're on our second pattern. I've given the patterns a name. You'll notice it right there. It says GSG2. That stands for Ghost Song 2, because this is a kind of ghost sounding song. The trick with a working title is to not put any thought into it and make sure it's just not that good. That way the bar is really low when you come up with your actual title, sorry. Wow, massive new developments. I've discovered that if I hold the mic if I hold the mic a certain way, it's easier to talk into it. That's really good. Also, I think that for the B section, I'm gonna have this little thing that operates on going from an A minor, maybe an A major this time, to an E flat. And then we can do this cool thing, this little thing with the bass. Because then we get that one, and that one too. So I'm gonna mess around with this a little bit. I'm gonna do it mostly off camera because honestly, I don't really trust my current laptop to record more than it doesn't have the storage capacity to work on all this video at once. So unfortunately, I can't show a lot of this process because it would just be too much recording. Yeah, that sounded terrible, but that's basically what I'm going to be going for. A terrible sound. I'll see. Alright, so I've got some work done on top of this bass line. I've added a simple drum. and I wanted to add something else to it. Because of the bass line, it had this sort of thing going on. I wanted to find some way of working an A chord. There, that actually sounds like a chord with an E flat. And I've come up with something, but I have the feeling that this isn't good, it's just clever. So, there's that. Yeah, I'm alright with that. It's very Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. It's really not going where I expected it to at all. I don't know, if I wasn't like trying to make this song for a video, what I'd probably do is try a bunch more things instead of having these weird chords there. Like, I'd just try other things that are sort of related to the part I just made, but I'm just gonna roll with this because like we're making a video here, we don't got all day. Okay, I think we're gonna do actually, basically this is just gonna be on its own one pattern. It's gonna be 2 loops of that. And then the next pattern, can I do this in one? Oh yeah, I can, it's just another 8-bar pattern, okay. So we're gonna make an 8-bar pattern where the next part is gonna be, we play this exactly as it is twice, and then make some changes, like cosmetic changes, small ones to keep it interesting. And then on the 3rd repetition, it's gonna go up a major 3rd, maybe. That's my guess. Put your guess down below in the comments. All right, so I did a thing. Don't ever leave a comment because someone tells you to. You're better than that. Basically, it was a 4th, not a 3rd. I knew it was going to be something. It wanted to do something where it just... And then it like goes up and does it again, but it's like a little bit higher, so it's more dramatic, and that ended up being a 4th. What is it? Yeah. So we got this now. I also added some little like... That's the same thing where it has the flat 2nd and the sharp 4th that we were doing in A, just in D, and I just sort of riffed around with it. And then there's 2 bars of silence at the end, and that may seem like it's because I forgot to put anything there, but that's actually a deliberate choice on my part. I don't know what to put there. I could just go back down and then have it be the same little four chord loop, but the very last chord is something different. That's what I'm gonna do, because that essentially like requires that I make the least new material possible. I only have to come up with one more chord. Okay, so I think we're doing pretty good. I just did what I said I was going to do, except the last 2 chords, instead of being an A, thanks. I made it a G and an E, because those are 2 chords that will traditionally lead back to A. G is the 7. It's the note right below A, or the last note of the scale before it repeats. And E is the 5, which leads back to the 1 chord for mysterious and unknown reasons. So I just stuck both of them at the end, and it kind of worked. So I've tacked it all together. What it is, in total, that I've got so far for this section is a chord progression that goes A major, then E flat major, then A minor, then F sharp major, then I play that twice, and then I play the same thing but up a 4th with an D. And okay, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but what I'm going to do is write it down, because if I don't, I will never be able to figure it out again. And then at the end, it just goes back to the same pattern as the first one, except it ends with a G chord into an E chord. Sorry, my voice cut out there. And that E chord leads nicely back to the A chord start on. It's not really perfect, but at this point the scale of this section is kind of getting away from me. Like I don't need to have a 8-bar loop going on here, and the chord progression is just getting a bit much. So I'm just going to sort of move on and start adding some more textural stuff, get that drum beat back in there. So there's actually one thing I'm noticing right off the bat, which is if we listen. Currently, no instruments are playing on the downbeat of every other bar. Every second bar, the downbeat has nothing playing on it. I want to preserve that. I want to make a conscious effort to keep things that way so that there's this weird gap, like a stop at the start of every other bar. That's going to be cool. It's also very Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, I feel like. All right, I'm back. I guess for you it hasn't been any time at all, but for me it's been a few minutes that I've been fiddling around with some stuff, and I've got this absolutely goofy melodic line here it's just really good. So, the whole thing's coming together pretty well, honestly. It's really weird. It's not what I expected it to be at all. And this little melodic line it's running on a 30-second note clock, so it's running twice as fast as anything else is running. And that means that I can't get a full 8 bars out of it. So what I'm gonna have to do is do some shenanigans where I'll have this one running as well, and then it'll only play that, bars 6 and 7 when the chords are different, and then it'll go back to this one. The other thing I could do is transpose it, but then it's just playing the same thing every time, and I don't really want that. Oh, I also changed the effect. I've got a nice little, I'll let it speak for itself. It's a filter. Wow. Anyway, I might change that out for the bit crusher, but as for right now, I think what I'm going to do is work on making right now everything is just kind of the same the whole time. It's very homogeneous, it's like a Taco Bell burrito kind of, and it needs some more texture. It needs some parts where, certain tracks are different instead of just the same every time 4 times in a row, but with different chords. So I'm going to need to change some stuff. Add some texture. This is all just kind of really boring bookkeeping stuff, so I'm going to do it off camera. Alright, so honestly, I feel like I might have done this thing that I usually do. See, the thing is, like, a lot of electronic songs don't have like 2 discrete parts the way like a pop song or even like a classical song would. Sort of, you get like one continuous sort of blend of music and you get what you get. It just goes where it goes. But I'm writing it with 2 discrete parts because that's kind of the only way I know to write a song. And so I run into this problem a lot, and I think it might be happening here where I've basically written 2 different songs and mashed them together. And the acid test is always just to play both, like play the parts one after the other and see if it fits. Like is this what the song wants? Not is it good, but is this what the song wants? know what? It's got kind of a, I'm gonna generously call it a haunted carnival vibe. I think it's okay. I don't know. I think if I can write like a little bridge that bridges the B section back into the A section using like something elegant, I guess. Like just some little fragment, like not even a full section, just like a couple of bars. So even though it feels like it's missing something, I think it's all right to sort of keep going with it right now. Maybe it'll just sort of come to me and I'll have an idea. But as for now, it's just kind of a small video gamey song, and that's fine. Hello everyone, welcome back to the shit show. Okay, so I know I said it would be fine, but I couldn't like help. Like, it's not that good like this, and it could be better. And so what I did was I took the first pattern again, and I copied it into a new slot, and I started working on it again. And basically I'm using the same chord progression and stuff that I had in the first one. So it's kind of darker, it's got that kind of weird floaty vibe, but I added a more solid drum line to it and took out the melody. I might put it back in, or I might just change it to some different kind of melody, but I just wanted to add some more energy to it so it's more of a groove. But it still has the same vibe as the first section, and that way the second section, it acts as like a bridge between the first section and the second section. You can see we've still got the exact same patterns we had in the first one. This is the new part. And I'm getting that using the programmable sound generator. It has an option to fade noise into pulse. I forget what I have mentioned and what I haven't mentioned. Like, I think there's some parts in the B section that I like wrote and never even talked about yet, because I'm trying to do too many things at once and I'm not used to making videos in this format. But for right now, it's basically just the first section again. It's just got a different drum beat, and I added this one part here as well. So I think this will help sort of pad things out. And to show that, I'm gonna, well, I've played it the whole thing too many times recently, so I'm just gonna work a little bit more on this. And I'm going to show off this part when I feel like I have it more done. I may have gone a bit too hard on the sweep there. You could hear it like just distorting. I'm not. Ah, gosh, I'm recording to the wrong track. Okay, so that's really annoying. And I added the melody back from the first section, so now it's in both that original pattern that we made, and it's in this pattern as well. And on this pattern, we've got it playing on sort of a distorted sound, like an FM patch, a distorted FM patch. And then I've got a harmony going on the PSG square wave. And the PSG wave doesn't change that much over time, or it doesn't change at all over time. It's just kind of constant. And so you can hear that one sort of fade in like when the sound first starts, the FM sound is playing well over the PSG sound, but then this one sort of fades out and lets this one shine, which is a really nice effect. And now it's time to, I guess I should talk about how I do melodies and harmonies, because for melodies, I just sort of mostly follow the notes in the chord. So this melody here, that's just all the notes in the A minor chord, and then it goes. So I'm just sort of walking around like, as the chord switches, the melody also switches to playing other notes in the new chord, and then. That's just a walk down that F major. And then I just sort of syncopate the notes a little bit to give it a little bit of texture. And for the harmony, I'm doing the exact same thing, an inversion up. So instead of starting on an E, I start on an A. So, you know, I'm just going from playing the notes of the A chord in this inversion to playing it in this version. And like there's better ways to do harmony, but that's like all I do, and I think that's probably all most people need. We're talking, okay. It's all starting to come together. Okay, I was supposed to mute that, and also I thought I changed this back to, here we go, back to the low pass filter. So that's what we're going to use this. It's obviously very rough. It's in a really rough state. It needs a lot of refinement, but the bones of it are there, just like I wanted for today. And so I think at least for a little bit, I'm going to stop recording because my neck is starting to cramp. And I'm just going to let this sit, sort of let it marinate for a little bit, and come back to it later tonight or perhaps tomorrow morning. And then hopefully that'll give me time to figure out if it needs anything, and just give it the polish it needs. And then tomorrow or later tonight, we'll go back over it and then do a decent recording for like. All right, well, it's on the same day that I recorded the earlier stuff. Okay, so there's some good changes here. For one, remember way back like a third of the way into the video when I was talking about like I was gonna have the downbeat of every other bar be completely silent, and then I completely forgot to do that, and then now I just remembered to do it. So I've got that going on. I changed the drums because I really didn't like the way the drums sounded in this section, so here's the drum track on its own. It's got a couple of fills, and it's got one part, oh no, wait, that's the other section. Let's just listen to it. Kind of fun, right? I like it. It's kind of fun. It's silly. Okay. So I don't really think I've made any other changes. I like the way it strings together now. So I'm going to try and do a quick recording of it. Be right back.